Hey there, thanks for watching. In this video, I'm going to talk about 5 financially themed books that have helped me in my financial independence journey, my financial management life. I'm going to talk about them in chronological order, in the order that they came into my life in general. And I am just going to kind of dive right into it. To say that these are not all financial independence books, in fact, none of them are financial independence books, but these are books that have helped shape and direct and improve the way that I deal with money, which overall leads to financial independence faster, for sure. So I will just jump right in. The first book is one you will likely not have heard of before. It's a very small book, but I absolutely love it, and it is called How to Get Out of Debt, Stay Out of Debt, and Live Prosperously. If you are familiar with my story, I actually started my climb out of debt and into financial solvency, not even independence, my climb toward financial independence, by going to Debtors Anonymous. And while Debtors Anonymous is an anonymous program, I am not promoting it in any way. I am saying that it is part of my experience, and if this in any way resonates with you, that you may have a problem with debting, then I encourage you to just do a Google search for Debtors Anonymous, because that for me was a fantastic way to begin my journey. I was very familiar with 12-step programs, and this was a very basic, very reassuring way for me to stop using credit cards. That was the biggest step for me, was just stop using credit cards. And that actually took a while. And the principles in this book helped reassure me and helped set me on a path toward financial solvency. So it's by Jerrold Mundis, and basically, it outlines the plan of Debtors Anonymous, and it walks you down the 12 steps, which are number 1, 2, and 3, you acknowledge that you have a problem, number 2, that you don't know what you're doing on your own, and number 3, that there is wisdom available to you. And for me, it was so important and critical to acknowledge that I was starting from a place of what I had done before didn't work. My best thinking got me really deep into debt. So I had to acknowledge that my thinking was wrong and that there was more knowledge out there. Again, this is a very basic book, but it just says it all in the title right there. Get out of debt, stay out of debt, and live prosperously. And I still view this as one of the most foundational books in dealing with money. The second book that has meant a lot to me is The Millionaire Next Door. And the third book is Millionaire Women Next Door. I'm counting these as 2 separate books because they are 2 separate bodies of research, and I feel that they have 2 kind of different point of views, although coming from the same essential principle. And the basic principle is, if you want to be rich, live poor, meaning live below your means. That's it. Just live below your means. And what these books are is tons of academic, solid, peer-reviewed backed, journal published research that shows that millionaires don't look like millionaires. Literally, the millionaire would be living next door to you. So what I've learned from these books is that it's better to have a lot of cattle and a small hat than to be walking around with your big hat and not have a lot of cattle to back it up. So I really found that this book had helped to shape a lot of my buying decisions, a lot of my life decisions, and how I value money and how I earn money. Basically, this is the idea that rich people don't always look rich. So this in particular, this book and this body of research by Dr. Thomas Stanley and Dr. William Danko, PhDs, have both so helped me again deal with money. And I'll just read off the table of contents. Number 1 is Meet the Millionaire Next Door. Number 2 is Frugal, Frugal, Frugal. Chapter 3 is Time, Energy, and Money. Chapter 4, and this is on car buying, this is huge. Chapter 4 is You Aren't What You Drive, which is true. Number 5 is Economic Outpatient Care. This has to do with how parents teach their children to handle money, how rich parents in particular teach children to handle money. Number 6 is Affirmative Action Family Style. Chapter 7 is Find Your Niche. And Chapter 8, Jobs, Millionaires versus Heirs. So really giving overall life direction into the kind of work that millionaires do, the way that millionaires view their money, the time millionaires spend handling their money. In particular, thinking about the time that millionaires spend planning for their money versus the time that millionaires spend worrying about their money. And that is the biggest difference between people of high net worth and people of high income but low net worth, which is very, very possible and very common. So people of high high net worth spend a lot of time thinking and planning for their money and almost no time worrying about it. People of high income but low net worth may spend a lot of time worrying about their money, but not necessarily a lot of time in planning for their money. And that to me was a game changer. Hearing that made me feel like, okay, now I want to change the way that I plan for my money. And it made me feel good about spending time planning my money. So I'll sit down with my spreadsheet a couple of times a month and just allocating that. In allocating my categories, I feel like, hey, I'm handling my money like a millionaire because I'm going to plan for my money and not worry about it. So that was probably the biggest takeaway I got from this book, The Millionaire Next Door, and I love it. I've had it for 10 years. Both of these I've had for 10 years at least, and I love them. And I will refer to them still because they help me kind of make sure I'm on the right path. The third book, Millionaire Women Next Door, was very important in handling money as a woman. And I am a woman. You may not be. But I think if you know a woman, even if you aren't a woman, or if you have women in your lives, this is very critical because this is, again, Dr. Stanley wrote this book, and this highlights the journeys of successful American businesswomen. So these are people who are first generation wealthy, and women who are first generation wealthy, and it kind of highlights their stories and how they got to where they are. Very inspiring, again, to see the paths that these millionaire women went through, and especially in terms of their lifestyles and how they choose to live after they have become rich, or the lifestyles that brought them into wealth. Their work ethic, their work habits, the fields, the career fields that they choose to go into, and how they own their businesses. I think 89% of all millionaire women own their own businesses. So that was very interesting and eye-opening for me. And also their personal habits. Do they work out? Something like 79% of all women exercise at least 3 hours a week or more. 80% of all millionaire women rise before 7 a.m., which is painful to me because getting up is really hard for me. I love being awake, but I'm not necessarily by nature an early bird. But millionaire women are. So I figured if I want to be a millionaire woman, I got to get up early. And that's what I learned from this book. The fourth book is this one, and this is The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ Demarco. This was a recent acquisition. I got this almost exactly a year ago, and this is particularly if you are looking to start your own business. I should preface that by saying it's not like a general financial knowledge book. This is something that will direct you in starting a business and the type of business that you start. If you are looking to be wealthy and looking to own your own business, this book is a great guide. It will give you a framework for building wealth in a quick and independent way. Not necessarily easy, but quick way. And this book is a lot of work. I have to say that too. So I found this because I was searching for, and again, if you know me, I like to hang out with people who know more than I do. So I was on this forum. MJ Demarco is a self-made millionaire, lives in Arizona. I think he sold his first company at 28. It was a lead buying company for limousine owners. And he had the option of either owning his own limo company or starting a company that provided leads to many different limo companies. So he obviously went with the second option, and that was how he was able to make his first couple $1 million. So that's his story, and he's had several different businesses since then, and his mission right now is to help other people become rich, which I think is amazing. So he has a forum that he runs with this in mind. He also has ads on that forum, so he's obviously making income off of that while he's giving out this knowledge. And this, while it sounds kind of scammy, The Millionaire Fastlane, it is for sure probably one of the best business books that I've read in a long time on how to set up your business and the type of business that you should be setting up if your goal is financial independence and financial freedom. Part of my goal is actually also location independence. So I don't want to be tied down to one location, and this book gives you the strategy to be able to do that. So the second half of the title is The Millionaire Fastlane, Crack the Code to Wealth and Live Rich for a Lifetime. So that is what he has done, and that is what he is teaching people to do. So again, this is one that I've like highlighted in and written in as far as the roadmap goes and how to get there. So this is something that I refer to often, and am actually using to build with now. So this is one that I would recommend that is a little bit lesser known. And the final book, which is not strictly financially themed, but also has chapters on finance and financial management, and I think would be invaluable for anyone, is Jack Canfield's The Success Principles. So I was watching a YouTube video and the speaker held up her copy of the book, and it was like dog-eared and highlighted and like underlined, and she'd like written in the margins, and I love that. And I just love the look of her book. My book isn't there yet. I just bought this literally last month. So it's still pretty new. I'm still working through it. And so far I've really been pleasantly surprised. So Jack Canfield, as you may know, is the author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, which is a little bit on the emotional side, but is still inspired by true events. All of those stories are stories. So, I was at first a little bit hesitant when I saw the name Jack Canfield. I was like, how solid and grounded is this going to be? And while it's not, I wouldn't call it as rigorous as the Millionaire Next Door book, certainly not as scientifically backed. It is a book backed by solid, actionable exercises, and that's what I like the most, is that he gives you examples of people who've done this that you can actually look up. That's always very helpful to me, is to see something reviewed and substantiated. So this is, I would call this a very substantial book, and I'm aiming to have my book look like her book looked, with the writing in the margins and underlines and the type of results that she was able to produce as well. It was actually a video on mindset and affirmations and visualization, which can sound a little bit, again, emotional and not as substantial, but the process of visualizing is very substantial and very scientifically backed. So this is something that I am using currently, so check back for more results on that. So there you have it. Those are my 5 financially themed books that have helped me in my life, my favorite nonfiction books. So thank you so much for watching, and I would love to hear what your favorite books are. So leave them down in the comments. I'd love to hear them. So thank you as always for watching, and I so appreciate you. Bye.